Hey FLOSSTUBE, it's Leigh from Creatively on Sunday the 11th of June 2023 with FLOSSTUBE number 181. Excuse the voice and the fact that I'm sucking on a throat lozenge. I'm on day 7 of having had the flu. When last you saw me, I was, last Sunday I was feeling great, and then that evening, by the time I got home, I cooked dinner and stuff. I was house sitting, and I just had I started getting really cold, and I never feel cold. Very rarely do I feel cold. So anyway, I woke up Monday morning sick as a dog with really sore throat, very raw cough, and yeah, turned into flu. Which meant I had to take a couple of days off work and shuffle a whole lot of appointments around. I missed a hair appointment, which I'm not even sure if I'll reschedule. I might just have to go grey longer, and because I have my hair appointments booked like a year in advance, and if I move one out a couple of weeks, then I've got to move another, and then it all ends up out of sync, and I've literally booked my life, some leave around when I'm meant to be in town for hair appointments and stuff. So, so high maintenance. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, so I'm on the road to recovery. I've still got cough and sinus issues and stuff, but I still squeak a bit when I lie down. So sleeping has been a bit hit and miss, but yeah, anytime I get a virus, which to be fair has not been for a very long time, like February 2020, I think, is when I had a tiny little cold for a couple of days, just before we went into lockdown. Yeah, it's been a while and I forgot how shit it is. So, but anyway, on the road to recovery, managed to get a couple of days worth of work in, managed to get my exam done, literally 2 hours before the 90-day deadline expired. 98%, really annoyed that I got one question wrall, but I'll give myself grace because I had the flu. Anyway, all done and dusted. So I'm not going to be able to cut out all of the coughing if it happens. But yeah, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, not being able to lie down for a couple of days, so sort of sleeping, sitting up, but between blowing my nose and dying of a coughing fit, I had good sort of three and a half days to sit on my chuff and do not much but watch TV and stitch. So yeah, I got a bit of stitching done. Quick update on other stuff. Dad's okay. He's just finding things harder and harder. I'm gonna go up for a week in July. Matariki weekend. I think I'm gonna say the 14th of July. Whatever the Friday is around that time of year. We have Friday off for Matariki, Māori New Year, and I'm going to drive up to Auckland for a couple of days and then drive down to Kawerau on the Sunday after having lunch with both my stepbrothers. They're both one lives in Auckland and the other one's going to be up in Auckland having been on a course. And then I'll drive down to Dad. I've got a couple of days at the Monday and then the next Friday on annual leave, and then I'll work from Dad's for 3 days. So I'll get to spend a few days with him. So that's what, only weeks away now, 6 weeks away, something like that, 5 weeks away, I don't even know. Yeah, that's gonna be kind of cool. And other than that, planning, yeah, not much out. I mean, there's some stuff coming up. Got Kinky Boots coming up, the ballet coming up in the next sort of 6 weeks or so, 6 or 8 weeks, and goodness knows what else. I do need to look around. I think Postmodern Jukebox is coming to Wellington, and I feel like in August. I need to have a look and see if there's a ticket available, see if anyone else wants to go. They're quite cool, and I like to do things. Okay, stitching. Mixing Gag Creations is full coverage cross-stitch charts from their artwork. I don't have anything white to hold up. And they periodically have sales, like 40% off and stuff. So I've bought a couple of the Venetian mask charts. So I'll show you them. So they're PDFs. They have different size charts for different count. So I just bought the one for 18 count Aida, which I may ended up stitching if and when I ever stitched it on 20 count. But I bought this one. So there's I love the Venetian mask one. It's a crimson Venetian mask. But a very good chance that what I might do if and when I stitch it is actually hand dye some fabric, a deep crimson colour, and not stitch most of the background, maybe not even stitch that frame around the edge. And the trick will be is making sure that the shading still works. So probably take a little bit of chart manipulation, but I feel like there's an opportunity there to just use a rich dyed fabric and just stitch the mask itself. But yeah, the shading, it needs the shading. I don't know, who knows. When will I stitch these? No idea. But you know, you can't have one, you gotta have two. So I also bought lilac Venetian mask. So they're so cool. And these are the stitch count on 18 count would take up basically a full fat quarter, so without any border. So I haven't done any maths to see excuse me, what it would look like on 20 count, but I don't know, they're pretty. I bought them. So if you're interested in that sort of design, they have a bunch of those Venetian masks. They've got a whole lot of fantasy charts, and there's sort of some court cards, like the Queen of Hearts and Queen of Diamonds and stuff like that. Just you can go onto their website and sign up for their newsletter, and then periodically get a notification that they have 40% off, which is great because it makes them affordable. I just bought them anyway. Yeah, that's it. That's all I bought. Again, saving for holidays. Okay, what have I stitched on this week? Lovely Judith was continuing to stitch on her Gigi over the week, one of the Bewitching Pixies by Nora Corbett. And I'm stitching all these three, not all three. I'm just doing three. So I've stitched two and I'm stitching Gigi, also on 32 count Vintage Country Mocha. Using at this stage all the called for, though I'm probably going to change her hair and or her skin just to have some variety, but I haven't made that decision yet. I'm messing around with ideas. So because Judith continued to stitch on this and we're doing this as a stitch along, I continued to stitch on it as well. So I got quite a bit of progress done, probably picked it up maybe 3 times in the last week, and filled in a lot more of the blue. This is all new and finished. This is all new. Filled in this from when you last saw it. Filled in a bit more up here. So this is, apart from a bit of back stitching and a contrast colour between the cat and the dress and the beading, this is all stitched up to here. So yeah, it's just a bit of back stitching here, which I think it's charted for white. I'm not sure. I'm going to do it just a dark grey, just so you can just see the line between the cat, but not like really stark. Yeah, I'm at the point where I'm going to have to choose her skin colour because her, arms and stuff come in here. So yeah, it's pretty effective the way that Nora Corbett with her mirrors and her Nora Corbett design. She's pretty good at shading fabrics, so I think that's the artist in her. So I probably won't stitch on this again for the rest of the month, but she's had a good chunk, and I don't know, there's a good chance I might finish this next month. We'll see. I continue working on my monthly sale. So that's a sale with Judith. This is a sale that I'm doing with Judy. excuse me, an Aussie in a Kiwi world, a stitch goddess by Tiny Modernist, and I'm stitching her on 35 count ocean blue from Country Stitch using a partial conversion. I changed a couple of the pinks and I think a couple of the blues. So yeah, this was my 1st of January start, and I'm stitching around 10% a month. The last couple of months I went a little bit over that, so I picked it up again from, only stitched on it near the end of the month, but picked it up again, and I'm now at just over 60% done. I need something to hold this up. And turned out that this flower and her skin and her face was enough to bring me up to the 60% mark. I want to stitch her hair last, which that's the most vivid, amazing part of this design. And so basically there's some flowers in her hair, and of course the moon at the top, and then her dress. So I probably will just start on her dress next time, which essentially is going to be a whole lot of, you know, cream fill in, but yeah, it's all right. We've got to do that. It's probably like close to 30% of the design, or maybe 25% of the designs in her actual dress. So yeah, really happy with that. Also, those of you who follow Tiny Modernist will know that she recently put out essentially what's the third one in this. It's become a series. There's this one. There's also a witchy one, which I'm not. I think it's called the Stitch Witch, or I'm not sure. Same kind of shape with all the fiddly bits around the outside. But I don't like that one. It's too cartoony witchy for me. It's just not my cup of tea. But she's brought out another one recently, which is going to happen in 2024 for me, will be the Queen Bee. So this one, it's so cool. So haven't bought it yet. It's going to fall into my cart at some stage, and I will be stitching that next year. I really like it. And also it's going to be a nice, I was stitching on the same count fabric, what did I say this was? 35 count, in a creamy kind of background, so they'll look nice together. Another monthly project, which is a stitch along, not necessarily going to be finished this year because it's quite big, that I'm stitching with, excuse me, Suzie, is Crowns of the Kingdom by Rosewood Manor. So again, I stitched on this, my May stitching near the end of the month, but I'm just picking them up again. So it's really sunny, and the sun makes you want to sneeze. So I'm one of those people. So this is on 35 count antique white linen. I'm using called for Petite Treasure Braids. And this is what she looks like on the chart. And I'm stitching up. And I got another 6 crowns in this time. So that's where we're at right now. And I got that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. So basically that big one there, and then these other 5. And I love the ones, my favorite crowns are the ones that have the black work in them. So the back stitching, like that one's just so effective. It's gold with just black crisscrossy, but just adds that dimension. I don't know, they're my favorite. They are my favorite. So, and I keep in cahoots with Suzie, and she is also stitching away. She's not following the called for at all. She is using metallics and adding beads and some other little findings that she has, which is going to be quite cool. So ours is going to look so different. Hopefully I'll catch up with her progress in person in March 2024 at the Christchurch Stitchy Retreat. There's still 2 more projects to show you. Sorry about this, but I need to not be coughing heaps. I spent some time catching up on my Botanical Blackwork sale from the Steady Thread. I haven't stitched week 24's design, which just came out because I stitched this earlier in the week, and I wasn't going to get it all out to stitch one more. So I'm all up to date, but I focus on getting all the border done. So this is on 20 count Aida that I dyed myself with specifically for this project. I had such fun doing that. And I'm using DMC inspired by Stitch Palettes Backyard Blossom. I'm not using exactly the colors on the palette because if you're familiar with Stitch Palettes, they have 6. They find a focal image and pull 6 colors from that and then match them to DMC. And I find them quite a useful jumping off point sometimes. So I found one I liked called Backyard Blossoms, and then I went through my DMC overstash, so where I've got multiple skeins from whatever reason, and I found colours that were close to, if not the same, that so I could pull from what I had. So this is a true stitch from stash, except this is where I bought you know, a bottle of dye. So I stitching it from stash except for the dye, which then, as per the quote, it just fell on my cart, ended up costing like $160 because whatever. Anyway, this is where we're at. So yeah, all of the border, the outside's done. So I had quite a bit to do down the bottom, right hand side, and kind of down here all needed to be done. Got all of the infills up to date to week 23, and really happy with it. I think it's such a sweet little project. So yeah, for me, I've only got 25 hexagons to go. I think that should add up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, 26, can't count. And it's just a fun little stitch. It's free, so you go to the Steady Thread Facebook group or the Steady Thread website, follow instructions to get signed up. Even if you don't stitch it this year, I recommend going and before the end of the year saving all of the designs, because you might want to stitch it later. And yet there's so many different layouts as well. You don't have to do this layout. There's all sorts of different ways to put them together. And even just having the little, you know, people are doing little bookmarks with 3 or 4 or 5 of them. So they're just cute little designs to have, and if you know, you can put them in your stash really. So I was pleased to get that one, kind of get the background all done. Now it'll be real smooth sailing. And then on Friday night, I was feeling up to socializing a bit, so I joined the just a Friday night stitchy chat, and I pulled out my old friend Pennsylvania Fraktur by Kathy Barrick. Last time we saw this, I had that row of birds, that bar, and that row of birds done. I just had to do this bar and that row and then work out what I was doing at the bottom, because I didn't want to stitch Catherine Birdwell from Lancaster. So I joined the chat on Friday night and got quite a bit of the background done. Made so many counting errors that I have personalized this significantly, because didn't rip them out. So mine is not going to look anything like the design. So, and then I picked it up again yesterday, and then I spent some time personalizing it, put the wrong dimensions into PC Stitch, so actually ended up making my words too long by 2 rows, so it overlaps a little bit, but I don't really care. I could have adjusted somewhere in here. there are a couple of things I could have done differently to make it 2 rows shorter. But by the time I realised that this was actually 148, not 150 wide, anyway, I thought nice if that would line up, but it doesn't. So this bird here was meant to be taller. I missed a row of 4 verticals, so I decided this one looks like me. And then I stuffed up his head. It's not the same. I was like, whatever. Yes, these 2 are a different colour, these flowers. It is charted like that. And I decided, given how quirky this piece is, keep those variations in there. These don't line up, they don't in the chart, which is why I wasn't so worried about that kind of going over, because this doesn't line up with this, like they're over. It's full of quirk and whimsy, and I love this piece so much. So yeah, down the bottom, how do I do the alphabet? So I have a license for PC Stitch, which I dabble in, mostly manipulating stuff for my own personal use. One day I might release a chart or 2. I'm working, I've got no time, but anyway. But I liked how this had the combination of these long letters, like the N's really long, the A's are really long, and then other letters are really squished. I kind of liked that look. So in PC Stitch, I put in the letters that I could reuse most of these. I only had to make up a couple. I was missing a G and an M. I think they're in the O. So I found a very similar alphabet in that Brenda Key's sampler motif book, which again, if you're someone who likes to change little things, manipulate the occasional sampler, I recommend that book. I've used it like easily a dozen times since I've had it. And like one was just to find a little mermaid, one was to find a little flower, and even then sometimes you change it because it doesn't quite fit in the space, but anyway. So I pop all my letters in, and you know, the beauty of using like software, right, is that when you have an L, you can then clip it to then paste it down here again, so you don't have to, you know, you type that A in to the design, then copy it, and you can move it around. So then with the G, I just sort of based it off of what the C looked like and just twiddled it. The M, I copied the M from the book because it had a similar look to the N. In the book, Brenda Key's book, this N, which is a narrower N than this N, this is the N that's on the chart, and the word Catherine, and Lancaster, but I needed to have, you know, 3 N's up here, and it made it too wide to have my middle name. So I just used the other N from the book, and kept the A from the chart, and again with the O, just copied the C and added a couple of things in. I always write my name McDonald with a little C, a raised C, so I just put a little C in there rather than a big C. Decided to put Trentham, that's the suburb in Upper Hutt where I live, and then made up the letters. Actually, none of the numbers were reusable from the chart. The 3 is just the 8 with a couple of things taken out. The 2 was a similar 2 in the Brenda Key's book that I just made a little bit longer because it wasn't quite high enough. And the 0 I just made a bit elongated. It's like the O, but only two X's wide at the top rather than 3. So just made the alphabet look similar because I really liked how it looked in the chart, but I just wanted it to be personal. So that's how I went about that. I probably could have described that more succinctly, but yeah, it was, didn't take me that long to do, maybe 40 minutes to fluff around with it, and then I just printed that off and then could chart it. And if I'd put the right measurements in, And if I'd known it was 148 wide, not 150 wide. So the chart's 150 wide, but there's a space on each side. So actually the stitching area on the chart was only 148. I would have, what would I have done differently? I would have probably, I could have made the G a little bit narrower, or I could have made the O a little bit narrower, like the 0. Like if I'd taken one space out of the O and made it like the 0, and if I'd taken one space out of the G and made it like, then I would have gained those 2 spaces back. Like there's heaps of things I could have done to make it fit, you know, just twiddling it a little bit, but I don't really care. One more time, because I love this so much, and I can't pass the chart because I bought a PDF, but it's just so, it just brings me so much joy. I haven't named these 8, 9, I can't, flew, man. I haven't named these 9 because I'll be naming all my Frakturs, but I'm not going to name them, but maybe I'll name them one day, who knows, I don't know. Am I naming them? You know, I write it down on my little card that I put away. So yeah, really happy to finish that yesterday on the 10th of June. Quite a lot of stitching, but again, been sick and wasn't at work. I was only at work 2 days last week. So what's next? A couple of things. I've got my giveaway. I had a chart to give away from last week, but I thought I would I need to always have a Fraktur on the go. So I pulled one of my other Fraktur charts out. This is just a wee one. Mind you, that was a wee one. So this is from Stitching Spell Fraktur 16. And I've named this one Maurice. He's a pelican. Down here it says pelican in its piety. And I love these 3 little baby birds in the bird bath. I'm stitching him on 40 count Sahara linen from Country Stitch, and using, I pulled the DNC and then changed a couple. So here is the fabric. It's so yummy. And here are the flosses that I have pulled. I'll show you the boring neutral colours first. Not that boring, but you know. So we've got, these are all called for, 3371, 436 and 739. So this one's probably, you know, gonna be quite close, except this is only used in the chart and fill it in the feathers and stuff. So it's not, so it's always surrounded by another color or by backstitch, like dark brown. So, and the eye and stuff, like there's none of that color just on the background on its own, so it'll be fine. And then there's one green, which is 3363. It's called for, and I think I changed all of these just to go with the fabric really. So I've got 22, which is my favorite red. 900 is the orange I've changed to, and 902. So I've changed those colors to pull them out. So I'll probably start him this week just to keep a Fraktur on the go. But yeah, it's only on a fat, like, I think it's a small cut, not even a fat 8, just a small cut, because he's wee. He's only about 4 by 7 inches stitched on 40 count, and I'm looking forward to him coming to life. So yay, that's going to be a wee Fraktur. I think once I finish this one, it'll be time to pick up Frederica from Carriage House Samplings, because it's been long enough since Frederick that I can handle that border again, because basically the border is mostly a repeat of the other one, so I needed some space, right? So, but yeah, really looking forward to getting him underway. And also it's really nice to always have a project on the go. I've got quite a few projects kitted up that I went through when I looked at what should I start. I've got a lot on, like, you know, variations of cream coloured fabric, and I just don't want to have too many projects on cream coloured fabric as I go because then you get bored. So it's nice to have something caramelly. So last of all I've got is my giveaway. This chart is something I stitched a while ago, West Winds by Carriage House Samplings, and I just had it sitting there, and I decided last week, being YouTube FLOSSTUBE number 180, it was time for me to give something away. So I asked you all to put the word West Winds in, pulled up the YouTube comment picker. The one that I usually use has now got a pay a subscription on it if you use the keyword. To use the keyword, you got to pay for it. But anyway, I don't have that many. I only had 33 comments. So I was like, well, I'll just keep retrying picking randomly until the word West Winds comes up. Turns out the first one I picked came up, had the word West Winds in it. And congratulations, Gail. Gail's been a subscriber for a really long time. Comments almost every week. I would say she's probably missed like 2 or 3 weeks in the last 3 years. And also she's very generous and has sent me a couple of gifts over the years, passed a whole lot of stash on for me. So I'm really excited, Gail, that you finally won, because I think you enter most of my giveaways. I have your address, so I will get this out to you in the next week or so. So yay, congratulations. I'm really pleased for you. That's it. So I'm gonna go and edit this video really and get it up nice and early, because it is only 9 o'clock in the morning. I got up early this morning, got stuff ready, and then I can just relax for a bit. So yeah, thanks for coming along again. I don't know what is going on with my fringe. Thanks for coming along, watching, and yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate you and enjoy all the lovely comments that I get every week. Yeah, find joy in your stitching, and as always, don't let your needles rust. Ciao.